Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we are going to be unboxing Scythe. Now, I wish I had the collector's edition or something super fancy, but I've had to go out of my way in order to deck it out as I see fit after the fact. So I have the regular retail base copy of Scythe, which is perfect because for those of you who don't have the game or are interested in the solo version, or not really solo version, but the playable solo path that Scythe allows you to go with in terms of the automa decks, or automata decks, however you want to pronounce them, it's really cool, at least looking anyway, and I'm going to dive into it in a Rolling Solo showcase in order to show you guys how to get this thing, this is a behemoth of a game, to the table, and also how to play through this thing solo. So you're going to have to bear with me because as of this unboxing, I will need a little bit of time before I can get my head around it, before I can go ahead and do that showcase. But in the meantime, I thought I'd excite you by showing a full unboxing of the game for those of you who don't have it. So what do I have here in front of me? Well, as I mentioned, this is Scythe. It is from Stonemaier Games. And it's really cool looking. It's got a very unique art style. I think a lot of people were drawn to it by its uniqueness in style, art, and look. As well, it's 1 to 5 players, as I mentioned, so perfect for solo because it mentions it right on the box. 14 plus, and it takes 115 minutes to play, but I guarantee that your first playthrough will be a little bit more as you gather the rules. And then down below it here we have the expansion board, which you can't see, but if I was to shuffle this core box up a little bit, this is an addition that I went out and got myself because I wanted to be able to increase the size of the hexes. You'll notice the hex size of these is quite large. And the reason I wanted to do that was just for ease of movement with units on the board. The base game comes with a double-sided board, which you will see and understand why this expansion board is a useful thing to have. Talk about that in a bit. Let's get back to the base game. So, the only other things lurking around the base game right now are these 2 automa decks, or automation decks essentially. These automa cards allow you to play basically solo. So they allow you to fully automate one of the factions or individuals from the Scythe universe. So it's really cool because essentially there is another deck like this in the core box. So right now I could essentially automate 3 different enemies against me playing solo. Now that'd be a lot to handle. Probably won't do that in the playthrough, but I just thought it'd be cool to have the opportunity to potentially do it. The other thing that's really cool is picking up these amazing metal coins for Scythe. They are super high quality, extremely heavy, and they look awesome. And who doesn't like collecting metal money while you're playing the game? Anyway, enough talk. Let's get to the unboxing because that's what you guys are here to see. So let's crack this thing open. Now the fun thing about this one is I noticed when I was able to get it that this side actually is exposed. So it makes me, I don't need a knife. I can just cut this open with my hand. It makes it perfectly easy. So we'll go ahead and rip this open. I've been dying to get to this game for quite some time. I've heard some really good things. And at this point in time, the expansions, the larger box that's out for it, which is like a box that encompasses and allows you to hold all the expansions, is out. Like, there's a lot of content for this game, but it's fascinating to me that such a cool territory control game can allow for solo play, and that really drew me to it. I don't have many of these in my collection, so this is what's so cool. Anyway, like I said, box art is phenomenal. As you can see, looks absolutely incredible. I'll flip it over on the back. Again, the art goes all the way along the sides. I know I'm doing this kind of backwards, but let's see. There you go. So you can kind of see the different sides of the box. Phenomenal artwork all the way around. Here's the back of the box. Very colorful, and show all the game components as well as a nice display of what to expect inside. But we're not here to take a look at the box. We're here to pull this lid off and see what's inside. So let's do it. Lid is off. Inside of the box lid is standard. Nothing exciting there. Okay, so let's take a look at Scythe and see what we've got here. So the very first thing you're going to run across is what appears to be the rulebook, I would guess. So this rulebook is fairly nice. It's presented really nicely. It has nice gloss to it, and looks like it's spaced out. The text is nice and large. Into this area, there's some different text fonts going on there, but it'll be interesting. I can't say too much about whether I like or dislike the rulebook just yet until I dive into it, but I can tell you I haven't heard any major complaints, so that's a good thing. And again, the rulebook, just for your guys' information, is about, did it even have page numbers? Yes, I do. 31 pages as of this page right here in the back, and again, it shows everything. It even breaks down your factions for you, your characters, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because I think what you guys really want to see is what's inside. But you'll see there's some really nice artwork throughout the rule book. So it's pretty nice. And there's a nice kind of show of all the different inserts for the different factions in the game. Okay, this is really cool, something I automatically love. The Scythe Quick Reference Guide, amazing. It's going to have this set up right on. This is going to be perfect. So when I'm helping you guys set this game up, we've got the game board and it's all numbered 1 to 8 and then 9 to 18 for setting it up. Perfect. So I'll be able to follow that and show you guys how to get this to the table in the quickest amount of time. Shows your turn order, your important concepts you need to understand. Flip it on over and you've got the top row actions, combat, and then bottom row actions underneath. Very cool. Very, very handy. This is really interesting. This is kind of, has a little bit of texture to it. I can actually, it doesn't have as much sheen to it. It's not as glossy. It's more of a standard construction paper type style to this one, I guess you could say. But essentially this is the achievement sheet. So the first winners in each faction, you put your name down. So that's really cool. So this is kind of like your sheet you can write up. Now I could see the really cool, the cool thing that I would do with this personally is because it looks like a one-time use thing, and I'm sure that the company provides another copy, is I would recommend potentially photocopying this and using a washable marker on it so that you can put things on, and then when people outrank somebody else and whatnot, you can track it and easily wipe it without ruining it. I've done that with things like Gloomhaven, for instance, and the and stuff like that. The laminating things can actually come in really handy that way. I've even done it with things like Arcadia Quest with their stuff and their what do they call it? Arcadia Quest has like those mission sum up sheets to show you who's winning and stuff like that. But anyway, let's move on. So this is the Scythe Automa. So this I think is the main thing that I'm going to be diving into. This is what's going to show me how to actually understand how this Automa works in terms of the solo play. And it's actually it shows you the Automa turns there, talks about the card itself and how you understand what exactly is going on. Because really, at the end of the day, even though you're playing solo, you are controlling the enemy. So you need to learn how this card is going to work. Doesn't look all too long, so that's good. It looks like it's 11 pages long, so it's not terribly long to read, but I've heard really good things that they implemented it really well. So I'll have to speak more to that when we actually get it out and start playing. Of course, wonderful token sheets. Now, as you guys know, I got the metal coins. So when you're looking at tokens here, sure, they look absolutely fine, and you can just go ahead and use those as per normal. There's nothing wrong with using tokens. There's some resource tokens as well, and it looks like some stat sheets for different areas that I'm not familiar with yet. But again, like I said, the metal coins, which I'll try to open up at the end of this, are fascinatingly cool. And who doesn't want to be messing around with metal coins? So here's another sheet of more of the same in terms of tokens. So a second token sheet. So we'll put those off to the side. Now this is where space is going to become an issue. In kind of in a cool way, because we're going to have a lot going on here. So this is the game board. Fairly big. Even just from the base game alone, it's massive. Now, in order to give you guys an idea of the scale, I'm going to actually pull this back. We'll continue to go through the rest of this in a second. I'm going to pull this open because I really want to see this board all the way out. I just think it's going to be so cool. So I'll show you first the side that is the regular side. In other words, kind of like if you didn't have the expansions collector's edition to expand the size of it, this is what you get. Now that's a massive board regardless. As you can see, it fills up my screen too much. I don't even have the ability to see it all, so I can kind of pan off to the side here. You can see it basically goes to the edge of my table, but it's sitting the wrong way. So on my Game Anywhere table, if this was sitting the other way around like this, it would fit perfectly. So again, you can see the hexes are about this big, which is probably about 3.5 inches in width. So they're decent size, but you can tell that if you're going to have some major wars and fights on these particular regions, you can easily tell that some of this stuff would fill up quite quickly. But again, the art and stuff like this on the particular board is awesome. It's very, very high detailed, and it's really cool to just look at. It was really well done. This is something that I saw in some other videos as well as some playthroughs and thought it was just cool looking. And let's go ahead and actually open up the expansion board maybe and put it side by side, flip this thing over and see what it looks like with the larger board in play. Because I think that would be even cooler. Now this might get a little ridiculous because my camera is absolutely not going to be able to handle it. So maybe we'll just flip it over for now to see what it looks like at least. But I can help you understand the size that this thing actually goes to, which is just outrageous. So, oh my gosh, this takes up so much of my table. I have to move everything. So here we go. Here we go. So here is the same board, but as you can see, it cuts off. So all it's done is it's taken the same thing we had on the other side and increased the hex size by an enormous amount. Now we're talking 5 to 6, I wouldn't say it's 5 to 6, it's probably 4 to 5 inches per hex now. So that it's getting up there, and as you can see, this is taking up the same amount of space as the regular normal board. Now if I was to go ahead right now and rip this particular piece open and lay it beside it, width-wise, it would basically just make it a lot more square. But it would make it huge. It would be utterly ridiculous. But it's still very cool. So this is probably how I'm going to play it, is in the large mode. Maybe I might have to, because when we're playing solo with the camera, bring it down to the smaller mode so you guys can see everything, because this game board is massive. So as you can see, this thing goes all the way up there. It's pretty substantial. So let's go ahead and cut into the expansion board really quick and see whether or not I can show you what this thing looks like in size when the expansion board is also a part of it. I'm just going to quickly grab my knife here. We're going to cut into this expansion board, and hopefully I don't destroy the wonderful board itself. Okay, got those two pieces off. Sure isn't easy. I thought this would be a quick rip. Here we go. Finally got myself a foothold in the plastic wrap. I've been dying to get this thing out and see how massive this is, because it's just like ridiculous. Okay, here we go. So we've got this thing out. Now we're going to unfold it. Oh my gosh, this thing's huge. Jeez, it's craziness. Okay, there's two sides though, so I'm trying to figure out what's the difference. Why are there two sides? 16 and is it identical? I guess it's just the exact same thing on both sides. Yeah, because it's the same. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So here you go. This is, what the heck? That is huge. Let me just see if there's a difference here. Okay, I see. This is the side you'd want because it doesn't have the black line going up it. Wow, that is incredibly awesome. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm sure you kind of can. But it is taking up on the Game Anywhere table, and this is a wide table. It goes all the way out to the back corners there, all the way over here, and it fills the whole table. Like, it is massive, huge. So that is really, really cool. And again, if you're playing on a table where you've got a whole 4 people sitting around it, you're not going to have any issues with people being able to see something. Like the score track is up there and stuff like that. Again, the detail and stuff like that is just amazing. Like, ugh, I could look at this all day long, but very, very cool. I just wanted to kind of show you that. So what we'll do now is we'll leave this out as kind of our really special looking backsplash to this video, and we'll go continue on with the rest of the unboxing. See what else is in the box, because this game is known for just having a box full of insane amount of stuff. So the really cool thing is that they were very generous enough to provide Ziploc bags. I always have some myself, but I really appreciate it when they're inside of the game already. It makes life easy. Next up, you've got a ton of stuff. So first off, we'll do the miniatures because they're right here in our face. Miniatures are really nice, high quality. So you've got a stack of them right here. Comes in a nice case you can sort them back into. So for this, for instance, you've got all the different leaders. And the cool thing is they're not one of those clip-on bases. They're actually already colored bases. So even if you don't want to paint them, they're already going to have, the leaders are already going to have colored bases, which just makes life easy for everybody, unless you're a crazy avid painter like myself and want to paint those. Next up below deck, we've got ourselves some mechs. So depending on what faction you control, you literally get unique mechs. So the cool thing about this game is there's never a mech that's the same across the factions. Every single one of these guys is completely different than the other. So you can see here, here's your 5 mechs. They all look very different. They all have a nice color that pops off the board. And again, you don't need to paint them. They're already color coordinated to color. So if you don't want to paint them, you're set to go. You can play this thing right out of the box. There's no confusion as to whose mechs are whose. Very easy to see. So that's extremely cool. So that's essentially the minis. So we'll put those off to the side for a second. I had heard there was a lot of stuff in this box. They are right. There's a ton. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of it. We're going to try. Okay, so we have tons of wooden tokens. So this bag is just one of a few in here that actually has wooden tokens in it. So this one, for instance, has, and again, these are like going to be your workers. I can't speak specifically to what they're called in the game exactly, but you can see it's kind of like a meeple, and essentially it's kind of like it's a worker of some type for that particular faction of color. And of course, there's one for blue, yellow, white, black, all that kind of stuff. So there's one of each of them in this bag. There's also some markers. So you have the stars, you have cubes. The other thing that's really cool with the game is they did a really good job of not just making them bland cubes. They actually put some effort into creating the shapes and sizes so they match based on where they should go, essentially, on the board. Because you've got tracks over here on this bottom right corner, tracks up here, and stuff like that. So they all have different uses. And of course we have, now this is where things get interesting. I don't have the really cool looking resources. If you had purchased the collector's edition of this on Kickstarter or managed to find it in retail, then you would not have these wooden ones, although you would get them in the box, I think, still, but you'd actually have some painted heavyweight iron and wood that look like tree stumps. They look really, really cool, whereas in the regular retail version, you're going to get some cool stuff. They're still very noticeable. Like, you can still see the difference between them. They're still, you know, that's wood, and then I don't know what that is. It could be oil. I'm not 100% sure. And then this could be food of some type. This could be clay or iron. I don't really know. But essentially, you can tell there's a difference between them all. They're not just blocks. So that's nice. Even in the retail version, they ensured that there's no confusion, even if you don't have the really fancy, heavy metal weight tokens that come in the upgraded versions of Scythe. But I know what, being me, I'm likely going to find those. I almost need to have them because for me, the expansion board, the automa decks, the metal coins, and the token upgrades seem to be the realistic tokens, seem to be the best inclusions of the base game that you can grab. And of course, there's other things to enhance the cards as well, but you can pick those up as you go. These ones are really easy to talk about because they're just specific to factions. So every faction is going to get a bag that gives you things like warehouse. I don't know what their specific terminology is, but there's like warehouses, there's gateways that go underground, all that kind of stuff. There's windmills that do different things. Of course, you have your own character market pawn essentially to put on for scoring. So again, each different color has their own. So there's not much to say in terms of that. There's also a tracker here that goes down the reputation board and that kind of thing. Again, forgive me if terminology-wise I'm off because I haven't played it myself. These right here are black markers. These go in the dials. So there's these dials under here, under these cards actually, that need to be punched. Okay, I just broke it. But essentially, when you take these out, every single faction has its own colored area and then a wheel. And when you're doing your battling, essentially this black marker would go in the center to pin it in place. When you're doing your battling, you'd add cards, kind of like Blood Rage, as well as turning your wheel to use a certain number of, I don't know what the term is, off one of your player area things here, one of your trackers. You use a certain amount of it, and you add it to that card to give you a value of what you're using against somebody in a war, per se. So that's really cool because it gives it a hidden element where your other player doesn't know what you're setting your dial to going into that battle. So that's really cool. You get two nice handy little storage trays, clear ones. So that's always nice. This kind of reminds me of Too Many Bones where they give you the clear trays for the dice. So that's really thoughtful. You got really, really nice artwork on the back of the cards as well as on the front of the cards. Actually, it's not even nice artwork. It's phenomenal artwork. It's really, really good. I've seen this in pictures, so I'm probably not going to be able to get through all the cards in this video, but they are really well done. And they also match the theme of the game so well that just incredible stuff. Like, basically, when you're looking at this stuff and then you look at the board, it's just everything matches perfectly. So really, really well done. Really, really impressed on that front on these guys. And I think a lot of people that have already been playing this game for a while are already fully aware of how magnificent the art is on this one. It's not a surprise anymore. So again, you got some other cards here which I can't speak to until I start playing, but quite a bit of them. Again, we already talked about these little pinwheel things. I do have some other ones coming. So the base game includes 2 of these for 2 of the factions, but there's 5 factions in the base box. We're missing, I think, red, yellow, and white. Those 3, I think, are coming to me in the mail soon. So then I'll have all 5 for all. So that's the thing. If you get the Kickstarter special edition, you're really not missing anything. Retail kind of skims back just a little bit, but you can buy the retail version like I did. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. You're not missing out on any gameplay elements that are drastic. So here you go. Here's the player boards for each faction. So You've got this faction here, which is the yellow one, obviously. They're color-coded. Here's the blue one here. You got the red one. Again, artwork just incredible. Every faction very unique, has different abilities and stuff like that, different artwork. Very, very cool. I cannot wait to get into this. Along with that, what are these things here? So a bunch of, oh, these are really cool. Okay, so I've heard about these, and oh, it is indented. That's incredible. So here's the other thing I really appreciate. I don't know if you guys can see this, but these areas right here are actually indented. So essentially, you actually have cubes that will sit on this particular player mat, right, as you're upgrading your content for your particular faction. And as you're going ahead and upgrading things and gaining things, you're moving these cubes around on this map, but they actually have indentations, so you can actually put those cubes inside of pockets so that they don't stir around on the tray as much. So there's circular ones there that indent, not all of them, but a majority of them here. And again, until I understand the gameplay behind it. But again, very thick, high quality, really nice. Like, no cheaping out on that whatsoever. That's actually a really thick cardboard, thicker than most I've seen in most games. That is almost thickness for a player board that matches a game board, really. And it has to be thick with those indentations as well. So of course you get all 5 of these. I don't need to pull them out because they're actually kind of hard to grab my fingers around, but there's only 5 in there, and that's it. So that essentially wraps up the entire unboxing of Scythe, the base game. Now the one thing I haven't done yet is tear into these metal coins. And I'm not going to let you guys go without seeing them because I think they're going to be cool. And I want you guys to see them as well because I'm just as excited for them. So let's see if we can crack into this bag without cutting my hand off. Alright, so first up we've got the 10s, it looks like. So we'll take a couple of these 10s out. Here, there's a few of the 10s right here, so there you go. There's a couple of the coins right there. They look really cool. Flip them over. Very nice. And they have nice weight to them. They also sound great. I will go in and grab, there's 2 more I think. There's one for, now again, you can also go out and buy more of these coins. I think there's one with 50 packs and stuff like that. So I have ones that are labeled, these ones are labeled 10, 20, and 3. And 5, I think. And there might be another one in here too. So I'm going to try to get a bunch of them out for you guys at once and then show you them all at the same time. We'll see if I can pull that off. It's going to get tight. But anyway guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed the unboxing so far. And essentially, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We'll definitely be doing a rolling solo showcase on this particular game. It's awesome looking. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be cool. And I hope you guys will join me. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I'd love to have your guys' help as we go along. Here again is some of the coins. So as you can see, super cool. Look at the detail on these. Like this one, for instance, is like has the square indentation, like opening there. Super awesome. So those I don't even know what those are. There might be 1s. I'm not sure. They might be labeled. I can't tell. Yeah, 1s. So I got 1s, 5s, 20s, 10s, and I think 3. So that's pretty solid. And of course, there's a lot more than this. This is just a portion of each. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed the unboxing. Hopefully this is informative for you. If you're looking at picking up Scythe and you're wondering what's inside of it, hopefully this gives you an idea. I'm going to see you guys in the showcase where we do the solo setup in the next video, which will be coming soon. So I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, everyone, keep on rolling solo.